What is up, you guys? Welcome back here to my channel, Just Simply Sports with me. I am Kaja, and if you're new to my channel, I welcome you. Please hit the like and subscribe button for me. If you're not new, you've been here, you already know how I feel about you. I appreciate you. You guys, we are down to the Final Four, OKC, Minnesota, Pacers, Knicks. It looks like we're going to be at the final two really, really soon. Pacers and Thunder are both up 3-1 in their series. Now, the Thunder have a chance to close it out tonight, but I think Ant-Man is going to surprise everyone, and they're going to extend this series back to Minnesota for a Game 6. Now, a lot has been said about Ant-Man, even before coming into the playoffs, next face of the league. Ant-Man said months ago he did not want to be the next face of the league. He's not want the responsibility. I can actually see why, because it comes with a lot of scrutiny. I don't think he's ready for it, but nonetheless, people have been crowning him that. I also said the same thing myself, just as a fan watching the game. Charles Barkley had an interesting take, though, last night after the Pacers game.
Hey, ESPN, I love you guys. Don't try to make Anthony Edwards the face of the NBA. The face of the NBA is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Joker, and Giannis. You can't give it to people. They have to take it. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is taking it.
How many of you believe in destiny? How many of you believe in fate? Because there are certain people I feel in this life who are just destined for greatness. There are a lot of talented people in entertainment. You have a lot of talented athletes, actors, actresses, singers, rappers, and then there are just certain people who just rise above the rest. I call those the chosen few, and it is the few. You can't explain it, but people just take and gravitate towards these people. LeBron James is one. Steph Curry is another. You look at Beyonce, you look at Michael freaking Jackson, even Caitlin Clark, Tiger Woods. There is something about each of those individuals that people take to. LeBron and Steph are not the first NBA players to be immensely talented, right? LeBron, all his glory. But you think about how he came into this league, right? As a teenager, with all the eyes, all the masses on him, just chosen. Again, not the only one that came in the NBA at a young age who's super talented, but there was something about him as a teen. People said, wow, who is that man? Like, who is he? They were calling him the high school phenom, right? It was just something about him that people just zoomed in on and gravitated towards. And then you have Steph, who came in completely different. He didn't have the same attention that LeBron did coming into the league, right? Dealt with a lot of injuries early on in his career, so much so they were going to trade him from the Warriors. We think about that now, like, can you imagine Steph not being a Golden State Warrior? That's not even in the world of realm of possibility, right? But you look at Steph, and Steph is not your average NBA player, right? He's smaller, he's shorter, he's like a regular average guy. You see him in person, but you look at his style of play, he has completely transcended the way the game of basketball is played with the 3-point shooting. He is so prolific with that. The greatest shooter God ever created, according to Stephen A. Smith, and how everybody else feels about him. Is he the first person to shoot the three? No. He won't be the first person to shoot the three. He's not going to be the last, but there's something about him that came in and just changed the way it's played, the way teams play. Every team is shooting threes now, right? Ant-Man himself, went to Steph, worked with Steph in the offseason now, and he led the league regular season in 3-point shooting, right? There's just something about Steph that came in and just did what he did in all his greatness, and it just took over the way it did, right? You can try to imitate it to a certain degree, but it's never going to be. There's only one Steph. There's only one LeBron James, right? Look at Beyonce, right? And just as talented as she is, the way she entertains, the fans that she has all across the world. Taylor Swift is another one. I mean, my God, when these ladies go on tour overseas, in state, it's just complete freaking pandemonium. To sell out arenas like that back to back days, arenas that are like 70,000 is a huge mass following. And it's not just their talent, like I said, because a lot of people are talented, but they have just risen above the rest, should I say. Ant-Man is one of those people. He's 23, but he is well on his way. If you look at his commercials, right? SGA is extremely talented, but he's more laid back. He's more chill. I think personality also is a big part of it. You look at SGA and you look at Ant-Man, right? And I hate to compare, but Charles put SGA in the conversation, which is why I'm using him for this comparison, right? They're both obviously super talented. SGA league MVP, Ant-Man led the league in three-point shooting. SGA led the league in scoring. I believe he averaged 32 points in the regular season. But when I look at their games, there's just one out of the two that you gravitate more towards. And style of play is also a huge part of people, that want to watch you play, right? I don't know if the masses are coming out to watch SGA play the same way they are for Ant-Man. Ant-Man is all over the place. Every time you turn around, you see a commercial with Ant-Man in it. Okay, you see a commercial with him in it. He had the Christmas commercials, you know what I mean, where he was Santa Claus during the holidays. You see the other Sprite commercials. You see him Chipotle. You see him with the kids, with the sneaker commercials. I mean, you see him singing with his best friend, in the Fantasia song. You see him everywhere. Now, for all SGA's glory, he has one commercial and it's with teammates. And it's very, very, it's not the most intended commercial, but it is a fun commercial at the same time, right? It reflects his personality, very laid back and chill, right? He's not a showman, in my humble opinion. And it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that in a bad, disrespectful way. It's just his style of play. It's just different. He's more laid back. I feel like he kind of comes out more with his fashion, right? You see him come to the game. She's like, ooh, I'm like, oh, what SGA got on today? Look at what he's wearing, right? I love to see what he's wearing. I love his fashion sense. But Ant-Man comes to the games. You see him, he got on a pair of, Adidas sweats, Crocs, flip-flops, a cap or whatever have you. He's just chilling, right? That's the most chill you see Ant-Man when he comes to the game, is when he's coming to the game. But then when he comes in the game and he just turns it up. You look at how he plays, the faces that we consider to be so big in this league, people that we look up to, right? Sending LeBron home, sending Luka home, sending KD home. I mean, sweeping them, sending them home. You look at how his personality is, right? He's so unpolished, right? He's just raw, it's like he's charismatic, and it's funny, it's entertaining, like he just says whatever, he told Chuck, bring your ass, last year in the playoffs, right? See him on the court, yell at people, go bring your ass home, right? He's just so much fun to watch. And I'm not saying that he's not the only one that's fun to watch, but I say that to say, I don't feel like you can just take the face of the league. I feel like it has to be given to you, have to be chosen for it. And I feel like Ant-Man is definitely on his way. Now, when it comes to his game, he's 23 going on 24. He has so much more to learn. You see him struggling a little bit, but that's also a part of why I think people look at the way they do. Because everybody's, at least from my opinion, none of us are a finished product, right? We're all a work in progress. And he has so much more growth. You look at his decision making, it's taken a leap this year, his leadership, but you see him struggle in the conference finals, with the triple teams, double teams, quadruple teams, however you want to word it. And he's figuring it out. You know what I mean? He'll figure it out, but he doesn't care. Right? You hear KP talk about there's these boxes you have to check, right? You got to be, a family man. You have to have, won MVPs, all these different things. And Ant-Man hasn't won an MVP. He's not a married man, but he is still very much a family man. He has a child. He has some kids. But people love drama too, right? I feel like now, back in the day, what we wanted in a face is not what we want now. I feel like now we like people who are more drama filled, right? We have all the drama, on the court, the way they bring the drama with their style of play, how they act in interviews, what they do or don't say, the the cursing, dropping a little F-bomb here and there. People kind of pull towards it, right? I saw this interview with Dame a long time ago, and he said people are bored with consistency, and that stuck with me. And it's very, very true. Look at Jason Tatum, right? Jason Tatum is so freaking talented, but for whatever reason, people don't really consider him to be the next face. He's deemed soft. He has a beautiful family. Him and Deuce are so freaking cute. Endorsements galore. First team All NBAs, Olympic gold medalist. He's a NBA champion. He's been to how many conference finals? 2 NBA finals, won. He does everything right. He's good looking. Him and Ella Matus had a kid. They're not married yet, I don't believe, but again, beautiful family, mom, dad. He checks every single box. But for some reason, this competition comes up and he's just overlooked. Even Chuck didn't mention the conversation. He mentioned SGA, he mentioned the Joker, he mentioned Giannis, but I did not hear him say JT. Not the first time that's happened. I'm like, why is that? If we're talking about checking boxes, he's checked every single box, and yet we call him soft. We say that Jaylen Brown is a better player than he is. All these different things, and you look at him since he came to the league, has been the only player to play the most regular season games and playoff games since he got drafted into the league. He never low manages. He always gives you 110%. His leadership, the way he took a step back last season to notice that he didn't need to be the top scorer on a team for him to win a championship, right? That's growth, because sometimes I feel like players when they're younger feel like they have to score all the points for the team to win. And sometimes you don't have to. Sometimes you got to take a step back and facilitate, let other people step up in different areas, different ways for your team to win, because at the end of the day, the goal is to win. And that takes leadership. That comes with maturity. It comes with growth. And Ant-Man's getting there, but he's not there just yet. And for some reason, JT is just overlooked. And I think it's because the personality aspect of it, because he has everything else, because he's not a showman, he's not dominant, he's not dunking people, he blows a kiss, however you want to word, or how you want to look at it. People are like, people don't really take them towards that, but they take towards Ant-Man. So for me, it's not about checking boxes. It's about what, for me, you were just destined to be. And I think Ant-Man is just well on his way to be destined to be the next face, even though he don't want it. He said, I don't want to be the next face of the league. I want to just be me. I want to show up, and just play ball and just win and just, compete at a high level. I want to win, dominate, and then be on my way. But people are still putting him in that conversation. And there's a reason why people put him in this conversation without him even being asked to be put in the conversation. You can't explain it, Chuck. You can't explain it. I feel like he's just ordained and destined for it. But what do you guys believe, though, about this whole face of the league conversation? Do you believe Ant-Man will be the next face of the league, or do you feel like it's going to be international player? SGA, Joker, Giannis, Luka? Let me know in the comments, and of course, I'll see you in the next video.